Welcome to Sharing My Truth with Mel and Susie, the uncensored version, where we bear it all.
We do.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Sharing My Truth Pod. And you're here with Mel and Susie, and I'm Susie, and that's Mel. And this is Sharing My Truth Pod, where you find everything from sex, love, to now fetishes. Ooh, and kinky kinks. And you can follow us on Sharing My Truth Pod at Instagram, Threads now, what the fuck. And you can go to our website, sharingmytruth.com. Leave us a voicemail, send us a little mail, because we're going to go through some mail today. Hey, babes. How are ya?
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm so good.
I'm absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, of course you are. You're on fucking vacation. Literally fuck off. It's good, though. You look amazing. You look glowing. I am nasally and hungover.
Well,
Not the best.
Yeah. What can you do?
I don't know. Like you're literally like you're shining like a star.
I'm shining.
Yes.
Well, I think that's some very expensive products, but okay.
Still waiting for the Get Ready With Me mail.
Helps. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Get ready with Mel. We've got to do that. So, what are we doing today, Susie?
Well, we have a little write-in from someone, which is a little out of the norm, if you could say that.
It is. It is a bit of out of the norm.
And not just because it is a fetish, but because it's just out of the norm of even fetishes that I've heard of that are considered like normal in quotations.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I've never heard of this. But, you know, as we said, what did we say? A fetish is what did we say it was?
A fetish is an outside of, it's being attracted to a body part that's not traditionally attractive sexually. So like a foot or a finger or a nose or an ear.
So exactly. So, and that it is, so just to get the Oxford language, the Oxford Dictionary.
Oh God, because we all need that.
A form of sexual desire in which gratification is strongly linked to a particular object or activity or part of the body other than the sexual organs.
Exactly.
And I think for most people thing that's not like traditionally you think of as a sexual part of your body or a sexy part of your body.
Exactly.
So like I mentioned last week feet, and that's kind of a thing you hear a lot about. But this gentleman wrote into us.
Yes.
And I'm going to read to you what he said.
I can't wait.
So he said, "Hi girls," which is hilarious that I was in the girls bit, but that's fine. Me and my partner, a future wife, need your advice, helps, tips, opinions, thoughts. They're both 20. They live in the UK. And he says that his partner, fiancée, has a weird, what he calls, well, he says weird, I'm not saying weird, has this weird obsession, fetish, kink for my sticky out, aka outie belly button.
Okay, I don't mean to laugh, but it is, you have to kind of laugh. You have to kind of get the fun because it is weird. As he's saying, I think it's also weird.
You got to, it's fun, like have a laugh. I mean, you have to with sex.
Yes, exactly.
At its very core is such a kind of weird thing and messy and everything else. And we glamorize it in like TV shows and stuff. And it really, for the most part, for most people is not. It's sweaty, hot bodies with lots of fluid. And, you know, so you got to laugh about it, to be honest with you, haven't you?
So much.
So he said, she has a, well, as I said, a fetish, kink, whatever, a thing, shall we say, for his sticky out, aka outie belly button. And his belly button sticks out a little bit more, and she wants to do a lot of things all over it. And in a nutshell, he is asking us what he can do with it.
I fucking love this.
Mm-hmm.
I love to hear about new fetishes.
And, you know, I think he also said she wants to eat stuff out of his belly button. She wants to do like raspberries and like, what do you call that? Like noises, you know, like, and he said a �ฑ𝐵𝐻. What the hell's a �ฑ𝐵𝐻? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she wants to eat, lick whipped cream, chocolate sauce, honey, ice cream out of his outie belly button.
This man is very descriptive.
He's very descriptive.
He might have the kink.
He might do, because it does go on quite a lot after this.
Yeah.
And he's asking also about different ways what she can do, play with like ice and stuff like that. But he does say that he's very self-conscious about his outie belly button. He's been always very self-conscious about it. And it's quite sensitive and ticklish. And I actually think that's actually quite wonderful. If it's something he's been self-conscious about, that's the thing that she loves about him. I think that's
cute as hell.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That's so sweet.
I mean, that's the question is, my very short answer to this would be, as Dr. Klein said to us in a previous episode, that fetishes can be atypical. I mean, if you like feet, or the next person, as she put it, likes anal sex, one thing that is totally weird and disgusting to one person is not to the other person, and generally it doesn't pose any problem.
Yeah, as long as it's like not like a recurring disgust response from the other person, that
100%.
then you can kind of deal with it and live with it and kind of figure out how to make it sexy in your life.
Yeah, and
I love that.
And also, like I said, if it's something, like if it was, this is belly buttons, but if it was feet, and as I've mentioned earlier, I'm not a big fan of feet, but your partner thought your feet were amazing, surely that's a great thing, isn't it? That's like the thing you're insecure about that your other person really likes. Well, just go for it. Do whatever you want with it.
100%.
Freaking spaghetti bolognese out of it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Do whatever you like. Ice cream. If it's fun and you're not hurting anybody, then what's the issue?
That is so funny. I mean, yeah, this excuse me. This doesn't really sound like a problem. Like, I think he is excited about it, it sounds like. And he wants to know what more he can do, obviously, about this. And because it sounds like she wants to do stuff to him. I don't know if, like, he does say, like, how do I do stuff to her belly button? But it doesn't sound like she wants stuff done to her belly button. She just wants to do stuff to his belly button. Am I correct?
Would that be fair? Well, actually, no. He wants to do stuff with her belly button too.
Right. No, but does she want to do stuff to her belly button?
That he's not,
because that's
really,
it's her fetish.
It's not really clear. He just says that it's her. Yeah, it's her fetish, basically. That's what she really likes.
Well, because this is what I'm saying. It's like, does a foot fetish person like their own feet massaged? Or do they just want to massage their feet?
Well, that's a very good question. I don't know. I've never thought about this. Because he has a sticky out belly button. Again, yes, I've never thought about belly buttons. Mine personally is an innie. What kind of belly button do you have?
I also have an innie. Yes, thank you for asking. And I actually have a very deep innie. It's a lot deeper than the rest of the innies I've seen.
Is it?
It is. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, like, women's belly buttons are sexy. Like, they can be.
Well, yeah, that's why, like, people have, piercings and stuff. It's
exactly.
Like, they're attractive.
Exactly. So it's not like a completely hugely weird fetish that's like, oh, I love, the top of your ear. It's like, okay,
it's not, except it's his, and men's belly buttons. I don't think you traditionally think. I don't think you think anything about them, do you?
No.
And they often have hair in them.
Yeah, we're not a huge fan of that.
But also, not many people, I have no idea what the statistics are, have outie ones. You don't see very often people who have kind of outie belly buttons. Not that I look at people's belly buttons, but
isn't it because it's like cut wrong when you have the umbilical cord? I have no idea. I'm not a doctor, but
it's something to do with that. I think I knew once and I can't remember now, but it is something. It obviously is, where you're connected to the mother. So it's something to do with that.
Right.
But I'm not quite sure why it happens. Maybe I should look that up. I don't know.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. So I have this amazing article from Vice. Okay. Mm-hmm. And, also I would suggest anyone who feels like they have a weird fetish or they have a weird kink or anything like that, literally just to go on Google and be like, what is this thing? Because 100% exists and you're not weird for having it. It's like millions of people in the world are thinking the exact same thing as you. So you're not a strange for thinking these things, because there's a little whole article on Vice about what is naval play, a beginner's guide to belly button fetishes. Like,
there you go.
That's amazing. Like, so many people in the world are having this exact same reaction.
Yeah.
And it is because, and they say, the navel is an erogenous zone because it has multiple nerve endings that make it sensitive to touch. So it is actually a very sensual, sexy place, because also, if we think about it, like, it is it's a hole, you know? Like,
Except in this man's case, it's not a hole because he's got an outie.
Yeah. No, you're right.
But it's an entryway to it's like, and it's also, you think of your body, it's kind of going down there.
100%. You're right. It's almost
down.
You're almost in the hot zone, as we say.
In the hot
zone. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, like you say, well, we'll link the article in the blog post.
Absolutely. And it says here that in a 1985 interview, so this is in the 80s, this shit happened in the 80s, guys. The 80s were a crazy fucking time. Madonna likened the experience of a belly button stimulation or navel play to nearly achieving an orgasm. And she says, I'm going to say it like Madonna, my favorite button is my belly button. I have the most perfect belly button, she said. When I stick a finger in my belly button, I feel a nerve in the center of my body just shoot up my spine. So I'm sure it's not just her. It can't just be Madonna. Madonna, you're not that special.
I'm sure it isn't, because like you say, let's face it, it is a sensitive bit. Like we said, you can have jewelry there.
Yes.
Particularly for women, it's kind of a sexy part of a woman's body, bizarrely, even though you don't really think, but it is. Like, you think of the way, particularly a lot of young women dress.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have your midriff showing, and kind of part of it is the belly button, right? I just don't think we think very much of it for men, really.
100%.
So that's maybe where he's insecure anyway, because it's a part of his body that he's been insecure about.
Right.
But his partner, my answer to him, like I said before, is your partner really likes it. I think that's amazing. And at the end of the day, you can do anything.
Yeah.
Your imagination, whether it's food or whatever it is. I mean, why not do whatever you want? And as we said, like, Dr. Klein said these things are not necessarily a problem. It's not something that's veering into anything that's problematic.
Yes. As long as it's not hurting anyone else and you're just having fun, like, who fucking cares?
It's not hurting anyone. It's consensual. Who cares what anybody else thinks? It's between you and your couple, and you're having a good time.
That's it.
Who cares?
So I just want to say there's so many ways you can play with the belly button. Like there is, if you had a foot fetish, you can use this advice for kind of any wear on the body that might have a little more stimulation. But feathers are a great tool.
That's a good idea.
Feathers are a great tool for tickling and teasing. Okay.
Good idea.
What else? He mentioned ice in his thing, but ice is excellent. Like warm, cold temperature play is really, really good. You can also stick a glass dildo in the freezer and bring it out.
Very good. Yeah.
In case you guys didn't know, you can always, if you guys, this is more on the BDSM side, but not intense. Like you can always use hot wax, but like safe hot wax. I want to make a note here. Do not use beeswax. It will literally burn your skin. But if you're using soy, any kind of body safe wax, you can do that, and you can drip. It's super sexy, super hot. You can even use like a little bit more like I know I have a little candle that turns to like massage oil. Get one of those. It's really sexy. Move it across the body. It's really, really nice. I don't know what this is called, but my boyfriend and I, we found it in a sex store one day, and it's like it has it's like a spinning wheel with spikes. I don't know what it's called. But it actually feels we should have got it. We didn't get it, but it feels amazing. And it's just kind of like tickles when you like roll it up and down your body. It doesn't hurt. It looks kind of scary. It literally looks like a torture weapon, but you just kind of roll it up and down your body, and it feels like, it gives you like the shivers. So honestly, I would look into little things that you can kind of tease and touch and maybe just go around the belly button. And you don't have to just eat food out of it, you know? Like, there's actually so many real sex tools and toys to make this a little more pleasurable and fun and exciting.
Absolutely. And any kind of like massage with, you know, obviously get the right sort of massage, the right oils, be careful with that, and then use all that kind of stuff. And there's lots you can do.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And
I mean, like,
said,
yeah, go ahead.
Don't be insecure about it. Don't be worried about it, because in a positive sense, it's your thing that you have with her. And or part of the thing, if you like. And it's
100%.
a bit different to other people, but so what? You know, so what? What difference does it make? I mean, I think the one thing I'm really interested in, and I think we should, like, I don't know what our listeners think, is just to sort of really clarify, you know, what fetishes and kinks are, because I think people are really, really confused about it.
Yeah.
I think they have a real sense that a fetish is something really quite weird, and that it goes into a realm that's a bit dark, and that's not the case at all. As we said, like we've talked about, and we've talked about in our what I was, you know, quoting again, but in our previous interview with Dr. Klein, like, it isn't necessarily, but I think there is a perception that fetishes and kinks are very strange, that in a sense they're the same thing, but they're not. So just to kind of talk about that, really, what that is. So we said what the definition of a fetish is, right?
Yeah, so it's like it's not normal, but it's more abnormal, of like wanting to like suck a toe instead of maybe suck on someone's lips. It's just the different things you like.
Thing. Or it's either so a fetish is either an inanimate object or a part of the body that you wouldn't normally think is sexual.
Oh, right. I guess it could be an inanimate object too.
A form of sexual linked to a particular object.
Yeah. Okay. So have you ever seen those
like shoes?
Well, have you ever seen those shows that was like My Secret Obsession or anything like that? Have you seen those on TLC? It's like the most ridiculous. Everything on TLC is ridiculous, but like,
I don't think so.
It's like people, I don't know if it's even still on. It's probably not, but people are like, they have the show about people who are like obsessed with like balloons, and you'll have this man who's like, has like a million balloons in his house. He's just like rubbing them on him. And then like you have like someone who's like married their car, and they're like trying to fuck their car. Like, this shit that is maybe also in the fetish community.
It's so funny that you've just said marry your car, because I was just watching a TikTok, obviously, before we started.
Yeah.
And it was about this woman who's married or is in a relationship with a fair ride.
A fair ride. Like
a huge,
like a teacup? Like a spinning teacup?
Huge kind of, it's like she's bought this enormous fair ride like this, or she's in the fair business. I've no idea, but you know, those kind of things that go round and round. Yeah. And so before this, she was in a relationship with a train. And before that, she was in a relationship with a plane.
What? With a plane?
Yeah. But it is called something. It's called something OS. Anyway, but the point is, there are many things in this world, but yeah, it just made me realize about that. But the difference
that's a fetish.
between, I don't know if that's a fetish. That
sounds like a fetish, because you have kind of an obsession with an object, and you're like,
maybe that is it.
Gets you turned on.
But I don't know if it was sexual. It was romantic.
Is romantic not sexual?
No, because you can be asexual, aromantic.
So that's true, things. But I feel like if you wanted to love this fair ride, whatever the hell that means, you're gonna want to fuck it in some way. No, you're gonna want to masturbate to it. No,
not necessarily. It's not.
I don't believe it. She's definitely masturbating to that fair ride. She's definitely. Is it? What is that big wheel? What is that big wheel? Like, what's the eye in London? What is that called? What is that again?
London Eye.
No, but like, fuck.
You're getting excited. London Eye.
No, like the fucking. What is that ride called?
What is it called? The London Eye.
But, oh God. like the wheelchair.
Ferris wheel.
The Ferris wheel, for fuck's sakes. The fucking Ferris wheel. Okay. That she is getting on that fucking Ferris wheel that she has bought for herself. And she's going up to it and she's like rubbing her one out and she gets to the top and she, orgasms. Like that's how that works. That's how that works. There's no other way to this.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm now going to describe kink. So this is what the dictionary says
Go ahead.
about kink, right?
Oh, dictionary.
So let's look at the dictionary. No, this isn't the dictionary.
I need the Urban Dictionary.
The Urban. Let's see what it actually says. A kink is a type of sexual taste to have a type of act that relates to sadomasochistic, BDSM, and sexual. Oh no, I'm not going to say that because that wasn't good. Hang on. It does say here in the Urban Dictionary, a kink is sexual taste for a person. Usually a kink is an unusual taste in sexual behavior. Unusual. But how do you define unusual?
Well, Urban Dictionary, anyone can fucking write in. I've wrote in about shit.
Meaning...
This isn't the Oxford Dictionary, sorry, darling. But a kink is literally just an act of doing something. Instead of being kind of not having more of an obsession about an inanimate object or an weird little body part, it's actually the act of, like, let's say you really like to be tickled. Like, that's a kink. Or, like, you really like to, I don't know, dress up like a baby. Like, that's a kink.
What is the real meaning of kink? So the Merriam-Webster's, that's a dictionary, right? The definition of kink is unconventional sexual taste or behavior and includes a wide variety of behaviors and preferences.
Yeah.
That includes BDSM or bondage or sadomasochism or whatever. So it is like outside of unconventional. Is unconventional the best way of putting it? But
yeah.
I just think it's such a lots of people do all sorts of things that can be defined as kinky.
Of course, but it's like if you like gangbangs, that's a kind of a kink.
Yes.
If you like,
it is.
I don't know, if you like MMFs, that's a kink.
Yes.
That's
a kink, yes.
If you like to be peed on, that's a kink. There's a whole shit ton of there's too many kinks to talk about in this one podcast. And we'll do an entirely other podcast on just kinks.
We have to do a podcast.
But that's the difference of the kink to the fetish. Is the fetish is the body part or an object, as we've learned. The kink is an act of doing something
like
out of the conventional. Yes.
A deviation from the conventional.
That's right.
But to emphasize that many, many, many people are a bit kinky. It's much
Everyone's
more
a bit kinky.
Yeah, exactly. It's much more common than not, and that most people have had some kind of thoughts about something that, if you want to call it conventional.
Yeah. Well, you can call it vanilla sex if you're just doing vanilla sex, like where it's just like you're doing the same shit over and over again. And it's not very exciting. It's not very, but maybe you like that. Maybe you just don't need anything more exciting. But a lot of people do need more than that. Yes.
And then a lot of people are having vanilla sex, and actually that is worrying them, that it's too vanilla, and they spend a lot of their time thinking about other things.
Yes.
But don't necessarily get to it because maybe it's a little complicated, or they're probably in most cases absolutely terrified what their partner's going to say. If you suddenly say, I'd like you to pee on me, I mean...
Well, this is, you got to warm up the subject, okay? You got to be in the shower first. If you have a pee kink, you got to be in the shower. You got to be like, what if I just peed on you a little bit? And then the other person's like, oh my God, what the fuck are you doing? Or they're going to be like, haha, this is so funny. Do it. And then you kind of can see where you're going.
You can definitely, I love the voices.
Yeah.
But yes, definitely. I mean, pee is one thing. If you're like veering into
I can't do
like,
the pee. I can't. No.
I mean, not to go too far down this road. For me, it is a waste product. It's like people who want to shit on each other. And I've heard so many stories about this. And you're just like, just the smell alone. You see you're like gagging.
But
some people like that. But, and I guess if you're both, that's the thing. If you're both into it and you both want to do it and it's both okay. And you can do it in a way that you're not going to kind of get ill, fine. it's probably just very difficult to meet somebody in a, let's say, normal setting where you're going to meet somebody who's going to be, yeah, I'm into that too. So is it, and my question, because I don't know the answer, is it often, I feel that it is often that one partner wants to do something, whether it is peeing or threesomes or whatever it is that they're into, and the other person is not so much into it, and then they often kind of get pulled into doing the thing because they want to keep the other person happy, and that's when I think things can get very messy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you've got to want to do it.
100%.
Or you've got to at least be willing to be interested in it.
You can
know what
try
I mean?
it and see if you like it, and then what if you hate it? Then you're like, I'm never doing this again, and then your partner's like, well, I really fucking like that, so we're breaking up.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer to that is.
It's really, I mean, in this man's situation, it's very nice because he's very open to his partner's navel fetish. But if he wasn't, and he was like, my belly button is way too sensitive for this, I don't like this at all, that would really hurt her and be like, well, I really want to fuck your belly button, so I don't know what to tell you.
And then she might get very upset and offended.
She would.
But obviously they both are kind of into it. He's accepted it and he wants to figure out how they kind of do it.
Yes.
And I honestly don't think, I really appreciate that he wrote into us, and that's great, but I really don't think it's actually very complicated. I just think do what you want.
Do what you want. Exactly.
If you're both happy and you can, you know, just do what you want. This isn't, I don't think, and obviously we have stated many times we are not clinicians, we're not doctors, but this is, to me, sounds not problematic at all. If you're both aware of it, you're both discussing it, you both think it's fun, then do what you want.
100%. 100%. Do what you want, sir. This woman sounds like a great lady. If she's trying to bring you in on all of her sexy little kinks and fetishes, it sounds great. So, you know, you just gotta lean into it. Give her belly button a little raspberry if you want.
Yeah.
A little.
Thanks, Susie. That.
I just absolutely love. I love how that turns someone on. Like, that is fucking hilarious to me, and in the best way possible. Like, good for you. You know, people can get over anything.
They really can. They can. They just. I think it's great. I really do.
That's amazing.
The only thing I was going to say to you, Miss Susie,
Yes,
is I have an article here as
Yes.
well. So this is from Very Well in terms of my facts.
Oh,
Because
fuck
we
yeah.
know how I love a fact.
Yes, we do.
And this may, again, also help this gentleman. So this is from verywellmind.com. And this article was written in 2023, which is actually what is a fetish, which we have discussed. And it says here that the term fetish has become fairly mainstream. This is funny because it says, for example, foot fetishes are the most common and openly talked about. You see, I told you I wasn't mad. It is the most commonly talked about.
Because feet actually can be cute. That's the thing. Like, a good foot is a good foot. But some people have, like, weird foot fetishes where they're, like, not weird, obviously, but, like, you know, where, like, the pinky toe or, like, you know, they really love, like, stubby feet. And I'm like, what? Like, no, you gotta have the perfect little pop, like a model's foot, you know, where they're like in the shoe.
And the problem is then you wear those shoes for years and then, like me, you get arthritis and your feet look like they belong to an alien.
And they have like little bunions now.
They're like, they're not nice. But so you could, then what happens if you start out in your relationship and you have really nice feet? And I would say I had pretty nice feet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're horrendous, but they're not the way they were.
Mel,
maybe that's me in general.
You could put yourself on footfinder.com and find someone who likes bunions. Like, I'm just saying, like, people love this shit.
I could make millions.
You really could.
So this is what this article says, which I do think is important for people to understand if they're in any way concerned, because this guy who wrote into us is obviously concerned, otherwise he wouldn't be written in. The truth is that a fetish is only a problem when the fixation interferes with your life or causes undue suffering to you or those around you. So I think it's like, I've said this many times, I say this a lot, is that anything in your life that veers into obsessive, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's drinking, sex, shopping, I don't care what it is. If it becomes obsessive, then you got to deal with it. If it's actually interfering with your life and causing you distress, i.e. you can't live your life the way you want, then it's problematic as opposed to not problematic. And I think it's as simple as that. It's the same with, kinks. If there's something that is actually you're into, let's say you go to sex parties or you're into BDSM or whatever it is that you do, and you do that the weekend and you go to parties or you have a group of people you enjoy.
Yes, we love that. Yes.
That's completely fine as long as it isn't like a secret sort of dark side of your life, which is causing a huge amount of stress because the rest of your life isn't like that, if you see what I mean. And it's in conflict with the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to note, Mel. Like, if you have a community who supports and loves you, even if it's just one person, it makes such a difference for you as like someone who maybe feels a little bit more abnormal or just out of the norm or like 100%. Unconventional. Like just having that one person to talk to who accepts you for who you are. And especially if that's your partner, that's amazing because they want you to feel free and all these things. But yeah, I mean, having fetishes they're not like in quotations normal. So having this kind of weird thing that you're like, this is weird about me. I don't know if I like, and I feel like this all the time where I'm like watching different porns and like feeling different things about certain things. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But when you're aroused, shit just goes off the walls. And,
right.
Scientifically, It's just like, you could probably watch anything once you're aroused and be like, oh, that could be something. But it doesn't mean you want that done to you also. It just means that
no,
we're human beings and you can get aroused by pretty much fucking anything because wild creatures. But
yeah, feral almost.
Literally.
But I do think it's important for people to understand that, if this is something that is causing you some distress, then you really should seek some help.
100%.
And I think also perhaps if you're, like I just said, you're living in conflict, like maybe you live a life, I don't know if you're religious or something like that, where let's put it this way, you're supposed to be perceived in a certain way.
Yeah.
And then in your private life, you do something that is so completely different to the extent that if somebody found out it could destroy your life, then you really need to think about, which part of your life, what it is that you want, because it shouldn't be destroying your life. It shouldn't be eating you up inside. And I think that can often happen, particularly if people have a specific thing that they like and they haven't told a partner that they've been with for many, many years. So they go and seek that somewhere else because they need it, but they're scared. They're literally petrified to tell their partner, but then they go and seek it somewhere else, and that can work for a while. And then something happens and somebody finds out, and then it's just.
Well, it can also, it could also be the fact that like they have told this person or they've told someone and then they didn't accept them and now they feel the shame from it.
Yes.
And shame can be a very lot, like we know, like shame can be just like a horrible detriment to your sexual being and like not wanting to just like be free in that part of you and like 100%. Being in the closet per se, like
100%. And I think, obviously times have changed, but I think that it's always about, I'm going to say the same thing again, Susie. It's all about communication. It's always being a sort of as upfront as you can at the beginning, because I do think people change in a certain way. You might start to, like you said, like one thing one day and like another thing another day. And that's the thing that I think is confusing to people. They're like, hang on, why did I not like this before? And all of a sudden I'm interested in this. How do I discuss that? And that's when they get a bit afraid to discuss it with their partner. I think that can cause a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But I think if you, from the very beginning, have as open dialogue as you can, that is really, really important so that you don't feel strange or weird.
Yeah.
And that you can kind of share things. And like you said, you can be interested in things, but it doesn't mean you necessarily do it or it's part of your life or your lifestyle or anything.
So do you have facts for us, Mel?
Do I what?
Any facts? facts?
Oh, facts. I thought you said facts as in
Facts.
facts.
Yes, do you have
It's like-
I would love to have fax you something. We don't live in
Oh,
the
that's
digital
hilarious,
age.
a fact. Well, so what facts can I give you? And so I can tell you that, number one,
Yes.
why do people have fetishes?
Yeah, what the fuck?
That's a fact. There's been a lot of research to explore why fetishes develop. However, some theories have been suggested biological, cultural, emotional, and social factors may all play a role. Apparently, this very famous French psychologist in 1887. So that was a long time
Jesus
ago.
Christ. People had fetishes so long ago.
Exactly. So he was the first to use the term fetish in an erotic context in 1887. His name was Alfred Binet. At the time, it was suspected that fetishes took hold through an arousing experience with an object during childhood, which I have.
Oh, yeah. Like something
I
happens
have
in your
heard that.
childhood and then you have that fetish. But
Yeah,
also, like
something can happen and it triggers something in your brain, and not necessarily that there's a connection, which is why they often talk about why some men are so into shoes. That when they were perhaps high heel shoes and stuff like that, perhaps when they were first developing sexually, and for some reason they saw shoes or
like their
it sort of
mom's
can
like
connect.
heels or something.
Yeah, it can connect in that way.
Weird.
And then that just disturbs people, and you're like, no, that's kind of how it works,
Right.
It is, however, research has shown that it's possible to condition people to become aroused by objects like boots as in shoes, suggesting that a fetish is a learned process, which is interesting. Also, it is thought that fetishes are thought to be less common in women. And I've heard that too, which might suggest there are unique factors regarding biological differences between men and women. So it's important to note that much more research is needed in this area to understand how fetishes begin, and who's more likely to have them and how they influence behavior. And that research has indicated that people who report having fetishes are more likely to use drugs and alcohol and experience lower levels of life satisfaction.
Oh no.
Interesting.
Because
That
they're kind of obsessive?
Maybe. And it's basically, so then the other fact that we talked about is, when is a fetish a problem? It's a sexual or erotic fetish, can be defined as an extreme sexual fixation on an object or body part. The object of the fixation is called the fetish. The person with the fetish is the fetishist, right?
Yes.
Yes. So there is a clear distinction between fetishism and fetishistic disorder. And that is a condition recognized in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Oh, so fetishistic disorder is very different from fetishism itself. And that there are, so I'm not going to, because there's a lot here, but there are 3 criteria for the disorder. It's basically, the first criteria is over a 6-month period, you must have experienced sexual urges that were focused on a non-genital body part or non-living object.
That just seems like a regular fetish, though.
It does to me. 2, the second criteria, the fantasies, urges, or behaviors that you are having have caused you a significant distress or impaired your ability to go about your daily life.
Right.
Which makes a lot of sense. 3, the object cannot be clothing that you use for cross-dressing, and it cannot be a stimulation device like a vibrator. That's what it says in this article. So feeling urges to dress in women's clothes or use a vibrator does not constitute a fetish. Why would it?
This article seems like it was written by someone who's old.
It does a bit.
That's so fucking funny. It sounds like a really old white man doctor who's like, if you cross-dress, that's fine. But if you use a vibrator, that's also fine. Like, okay, that makes sense.
I think basically the long and short of it is that it's a problem if it veers into, it's going into your life and affecting your life. I think that sounds pretty simple. If it's something that's just something you do and it's kind of fun and there's no big deal, then it's okay. If it's veering into controlling your life or affecting your life or causing you or anybody else in your life distress, then you need to seek some help. And it could be a problem.
And that's it. I mean, like, this man who's written into us, we wish you all the best. I hope we've given you some good tips on how to arouse your lady's belly button. And
no, she's arousing his belly button.
He wants to now arouse hers.
Oh, I see. Yes. Sorry,
but so the best of both worlds, we hope for them.
To both belly buttons.
To both navels, we wish you well. And you know, I if you have a fetish, just look up whatever that fetish might be. You will find a community. I promise you.
Yeah, you.
I swear, because there are not crazy people, but there are people for everything. And
100%.
if you look for the community, you will find it. And hopefully it's not for, hurting other people, because we're not about that. But it is, about just maybe you're like, hey, why do I like to be tickled on this one spot? Like, why do I like an elbow? Like, why am I obsessed with this elbow thing?
Yes.
Why does that turn me on? There are
100%.
other people like you. And you're definitely not alone in that.
Absolutely, definitely not alone. And I think that's very good advice, Susie, to seek out.
Very good. Hey.
But we will link all this stuff in our blog.
Yes.
And yeah, like we said, on another episode, we will talk about kinks, because we need to talk about this. This is like a mammoth, humongous topic, isn't it?
It truly is. Especially with fetishes. I mean, like, kinks, I feel like, are much more about specifically like BDSM. Like, that's a lot of where the stuff kind of leads
Sexual
into
behavior.
Yeah. So exactly. But fetishes are literally anything. So yeah, it's incredible where you can go.
Anything.
Literally anything. Like, it's like this mic could be like a sexual object to someone.
If
you think about it.
And it could. Well, remember what we said in our last episode? I told you about the story I heard about the guy doing it with the chair. I mean, like, if you like chairs, I really don't think it's a terribly good idea, but it really isn't a good idea at all. So please don't anybody do that. But there are people with a lot more out of the ordinary feelings and thoughts than we think. And we live in a society where we pretend that that's not the case.
Yes.
And then we judge people who like things that are not kind of in the box of what we've said is okay, which is just kind of nuts if you think about it.
It is. So let's just be open, guys. Let's be open-minded, because you never know when a fetish will actually come to you, or a kink, and you'll be like, oh, that sounds weird, but maybe I'll try that. Like, if your partner comes to you, you have to keep an open mind.
That's it. You have to keep an open mind, and you have to keep communicating, right, Susie?
That's right, Mel. My miscommunication.
Well, that's all we have for today.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, darling. Oh, have a wonderful rest of your vacay. I'm going to miss you so much.
I know.
I hate it that you're over there and I'm over here.
You're over there.
I hate it.
Over there.
Over here.
But technology is a wonderful thing. And, well, yeah, thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks
and
so much.
We'll see. Well, we won't really see you, but we'll connect. And please remember, please remember to share, because like this guy who shared, it's really great. And we want to hear about them. And do send us your kinky stuff, because we are going to talk about it.
You know, we love that.
Your kinky stories, kinky, whatever. We want to hear about it.
We want it. We just want it. We want it. So give it to us.
The girl has said it.
Love you guys.
Until next time.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Please rate and review this podcast and follow us on social at Sharing My Truth Pod, and leave us a voicemail on our website at sharingmytruth.com to share your stories and experiences with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.